Hello and welcome to Arts 24, where we're doing a deep dive into the worst of all possible worlds, George Orwell's dystopia 1984, as seen through the eyes of Haitian director Raoul Peck.
When I sit down to write a book, I write it because there is some lie that I want to expose.
Again, how many fingers?
The very concept of objective truth is fading out of this world.
I'm going to set down what I dare not say aloud.
Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful.
The love in the air, I've never seen anything like it.
War is peace. Ignorance is strength. Totalitarianism, if not fought against, could triumph anywhere.
Well, the award-winning filmmaker joins us in the studio to tell us more about this unique and urgent documentary, 2 + 2 = 5. Raoul Peck, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Your film is not a traditional biography of George Orwell. It's based on his writings, his ideas, the novel 1984, the essay Why I Write. But why did you choose to work with his words for the narration and not, for example, interviews with his friends, your own ideas?
Well, this is something that I discovered, that it's always better, more impactful to discover the writing through the writer himself. I didn't want to make a biography. I wanted it to tell a story told by George Orwell himself as a character. That's why, in that version, Damian Lewis is doing Orwell. It's a performance. It's a way to get you as close, as intimate as possible to the ideas of that particular writer. So it's not just an intellectual approach. It's really how close can you go. So I choose not to go through experts or scholar. Orwell himself is probably more specific and more direct about his work than any other person would be.
We definitely get a personal insight from that narration. Now, language is such an important part of the world of 1984, the newspeak that the party imposes. How do you see his ideas about political language playing out today when it comes to this basic notion of truth?
Well, basically, Orwell delivers us the whole toolbox that is being used right now, not only in the US, but elsewhere in more non-democratic countries. And it's basically language is the one big thing that where it starts, to deform the words, to to use the word into their contraries. To attack the truth. There is alternative truth now. It's a way to basically take your clarity out from you, where you cannot even judge. You don't know where up and down are. So language is, Orwell says, like the degradation of the language is a condition for the degradation of democracy.
And as you show in the film, one of Orwell's major ideas, conveyed thanks to British actor Damian Lewis and his narration, is the following quote: "The opinion that art should have nothing to do with politics is itself a political attitude." And I thought of that statement in light of what's happened at the Berlinale, the Berlin Film Festival recently, in which the jury president, Wim Wenders, suggested that artists should stay out of politics. What did you think of that?
Well, I know Wim, and I know, I can imagine, in that representative situation, but of course it's totally wrong. You cannot stay out of the reality. When you see injustice, you need to see it, to say it. When you see genocide, I made, I don't know how many films that goes around genocide. So there are criteria. The person who invented the word genocide, Raphael Lemkin, he has a whole list of criteria and of historical cases of genocide. Gaza would easily go to the top of it. So like the situation in Rwanda, it took months, even years, for the US administration to accept to use the word genocide. So we have been there before, and we still make the same mistake. So it's inadmissible that, if you are a filmmaker, an artist, a writer, your job is to tell what's going on and to explain it correctly.
Indeed, I think we can say that politics and how they shape the course of history is a fundamental part of the work you do, the films that you make. For example, civil rights and race in Peck's BAFTA award-winning film I Am Not Your Negro, based on the writing of James Baldwin, or Ernest Cole, Lost and Found, which won the documentary prize in Cannes. Now, those films look back at history, but 2 + 2 = 5 has a lot of very contemporary footage, especially from the United States. Let's take a look at one of those moments.
I'm with him to the finish. He could stand on the front steps of the White House and commit murder, and I'm with him.
How do you explain all these charges? How do you explain all? What's
Well,
going
they're all
on?
made up.
They're all made up.
Yep. They're all made up.
So the election interference in Georgia, Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesebro, who worked for Donald Trump as lawyers, they just pled guilty and
I don't
admitted.
believe that either.
You don't believe they pled guilty?
Nope. Nope.
Raoul, would you say that Orwell's speculation in 1984 is actually coming to pass in America 80 years later?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't call them speculation because, in fact, he wrote about what he went through himself. So he has a very intimate experience with the propaganda, the way you rewrite history, the way you destroy language, the way you misuse language. Those are instruments of dominance. So when he wrote 1984, it was not some sort of future description of possible state. He was warning us that we should, if we live in a democracy, we should make sure that we are always awake about what's going on around us.
Because Orwell had experienced the imperial situation in the British colonies.
Absolutely. He volunteered at the age of 19 to go to Burma, Myanmar today, and he realized that he was a colonial soldier, a colonial policeman. And he described, and he had the courage to describe what he did there, and he was ashamed of it. So, and at the time, very rarely people would write about it.
And throughout your career, you've explored the history and politics of your home country, Haiti, in films like Murder in Paco, Haiti, Silence of the Dogs. And as an established artist in 1996, you were named Minister of Culture, a role you resigned from the following year, disappointed by the political changes that had happened in the country. The country had been subjected to a certain extent. When you look at Haiti 3 decades on, how do you see the situation there?
It's a catastrophe, and that's one of the holes of actuality, as if Haiti has stopped, as if Ukraine has stopped. No, we are living through those horrors every day. I talk with Haiti every night, every evening. No, it's a catastrophe, and unfortunately, the U.S. administration is again on the wrong side, supporting people that are corrupt, people that are strangling the civil society. The capital is still surrounded by 90% of gangs, and who just got a contract for 10 years to get rid, so-called, of the gangs is Eric Prince, who was the head of forgot the company, of Blackwater. And those are the way to deal with a conflict. So unfortunately, we tend to not see the fuller picture. We tend to forget what's going on elsewhere while it's going on at the same time. Gaza is going on, Ukraine is going on, Yemen is going on, Congo is still into some sort of war. Haiti, of course, closer to my heart. So that's how the media machine somehow is not properly geared to face all that. And that's also what Orwell denounced, how at one point, when the higher ups decided to flout the zone and put us in a situation where we can't anymore distinguish from reality and lies and what is more important and less important. Everything is on the same level, basically, on your table every morning. And it's a view of reality that doesn't, in fact, reflect reality.
Now, finally, to return to Orwell's words of wisdom, in 1984, he writes, "If there is hope, it lies in the proles, that is, the common man, the 99%, the people." Looking ahead politically and artistically, where do you see hope?
Well, hope is, as Orwell say, exactly that he calls it the proles, a word that he invented. But I would call it today the civil society. And we know it's always the civil society and its organization who are on the front line, whether it's in Iran, whether it's in Gaza, whether it's in Ukraine. It's about how in Minneapolis, the people decided to stop the action of ICE. They put their own body in danger. That's the hope we have. When sufficient democratic citizen decided to say, stop, you're not going further. That's what Orwell means when he talk about common decency. It's when the normal citizen come to a point where they say, we cannot continue to accept that.
And it is certainly a very pertinent reminder in your film. Raoul Peck, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll wrap up the show with a fleeting overview of some of your past work, as the Institut Lumière in Lyon hosts a retrospective of Raoul Peck's films. Most of the features I mentioned during our show, as well as the critically acclaimed Lumumba, also Raoul's unique take on the young Karl Marx, and 2 + 2 = 5, which is also coming out in cinemas across France. Do check in with us next time here on Arts 24 for more movies, arts and culture. There's more news coming up just after this.
Mr. Bolin, I'm sure you still meet the remark that what are the Negroes, why aren't they optimistic? They say, but it's getting so much better. There are Negro mayors, there's Negroes in all of sports, there are Negroes in politics.
Regarde le frère. Regarde le compère, même si ou pas sous ça.
My name is Ernest Cole. In the 60s, every day, every hour, despite the dangers, I photographed apartheid without stopping.
What are we? Hutu or Tutsi?
One day, I hope we will just say Rwandan.